from the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis.
234.046. He will start on pole for the Indianapolis 500.
Indianapolis 500 qualifications coverage brought to you by the Indiana Union Construction Industry. Skilled on principle, union by choice. Live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, here's Greg Rakestraw, John Herrick, and Kurt Darling.
It is great to be with you from the world's greatest race course here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Another day of Indy 500 qualifying coming your way. And it's about 7 hours of coverage from the track. So basically, Kurt, myself, John Herrick, and Greg Rakestraw, who's going to join us a little bit after 1 o'clock. If you come into the track and you're getting ready to watch practice, which is going to start at 1 o'clock, you will hear the dulcet tones of Greg Rakestraw on the PA. Once he is done with PA activities, he will come and join Kurt and I for radio activities, which we will have until 4 o'clock, and then Kurt, Greg, and I are done. The fellas at the IMS Radio Network will take over, and that is where they will give you top 12 qualifying, which is supposed to start at 4:05, and then at 5:15, it's last chance qualifying, which goes from 5:15 to 6:15, where positions 31 through 33 will be determined, and then starting at about 6:25 is the Firestone Fast 6, where positions 1 through 6 will be figured out, and we will see who ends up being on the pole for next Sunday's 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. And with that, good afternoon to you. It's great to have you with us. Kurt Darling to my right. And Kurt, want to spend the first 20 minutes or so here breaking down what was an insane Saturday. We had 73 qualifying attempts, lots of twists and turns, literally and figuratively for a lot of people. And just we'll start with at the top, because I think we need to start with Alex Palou, not just because of what he's been able to do at this track, but because of what he's been able to do in the IndyCar Series overall. I mean, several IndyCar wins already. The speed has been consistent. The car has been consistent. You just can't say enough about what Alex Palou has been able to do, not just at this track, but for the rest of the season.
Well, Alex Palou, he's looking to get his third pole position in a row just this season. He started on pole here before back in 2023, so he knows what he has to do to at least get the job done. Alex Palou is basically the pinnacle this season of driver-mechanic team combination. You cannot get any better than what they have put together in that Ganassi stable to get Alex Palou where he is. He's won 4 of the first 5 races. He could become the first driver pretty much ever to win 5 of the first 6 races of the season. Of course, he's tied Dan Weldon in that regard back from 2005 when he won the first 4 of the 5 races of the IRL season that year, but still, Alex Palou, fastest on the day yesterday. His 4-lap average, 233.043 miles an hour. But Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden were right there with him in that 233 range. They were the only 3 drivers to go north of 233 miles an hour. So the conditions are much different today, but lots more sunshine, but a little bit less wind. It's about 67 degrees at the moment. So the conditions will be different, which means it could be completely different than what we saw yesterday.
To your point, about the wind. The wind gusts yesterday were pushing the late 20 mile an hours. I mean, they were getting close to 30 miles an hour at times. The wind gust projected today up to about 14 miles an hour. So the wind will definitely be a factor still, but not necessarily what it will be, what we saw on Saturday. But I think, again, sometimes in qualifying, we've talked about this on this program the last several years, sometimes it's when you go, your draw that plays a big role, and Alex Palou was lucky enough to go early.
Yes, he did have an early draw, so he was able to get a favorable run in those conditions. It was the only run he took yesterday. He only put those 4 laps down, and then that was it. They put the car away, although they did bring it back out onto pit road. We don't exactly know why they did that, but probably just to bring it out just in case something happened. But still, Alex Palou only had that one run. Scott McLaughlin only took that one run. And then, of course, Joseph Newgarden, he actually waved off, he actually forwent his actual run and then went to the back of the line to try and get some favorable conditions afterwards because he had a late draw anyway. So he was trying to get it going there to at least get some favorable conditions, and he certainly had some speed. And that's the thing about Newgarden's time in particular. He took his run north of 2:33, just over that mark, yet it was in less than favorable conditions as opposed to what Alex Palou did. So that goes to show you that even though Alex Palou has the overall fast time at the moment, that doesn't necessarily mean he will have it once we get to top 12 and, of course, Fast 6 qualifying later on this evening.
And mentioning the other guys that are in the top 6 at the moment, again, as Kurt said, the Firestone Fast 6 is going to be what determines everything later today, getting going at about 6:25. But here's the pedigree of the drivers that are right behind Palou. So you have Palou, who's been just had an incredible display of racing all throughout the season. Second in 2021 after going a fifth and sixth in this race these last couple years. So Palou, he's craving that Indy 500 victory, but he's got Scott McLaughlin right on his heels, who finished sixth last year after starting first on the pole. Joseph Newgarden's obviously won this race twice in a row, and we can't forget about Pato O'Ward, Kurt. How I refer to Pato O'Ward is I refer to him as Mr. Single Digits. He's either starting in the single digits or finishing in the single digits, and he's been doing that yet again. And a lot of fans love to think of him as kind of a rival to Palou.